Today, from this beautiful view overlooking Mesilla, Georgia, I want to talk about a few of the downsides of being a digital nomad, being someone who travels and works at the same time, or remote worker, anyone who has chosen a different style of basically life, really. And with anything, there are good and bad. Just like if you have a steady, normal job like I did in the past, there was good and bad. And I chose to have a steady, normal career for 15 years. And then after that, I chose to have a up and down, not steady, not guaranteed life after that. But also, nothing in life is ever guaranteed. So choosing how you want to live is one of those things that we have a choice. And I know you're probably watching this go, Sarah, I don't have a choice. I have A, B, C, and D. Okay, then that's how you want to see your world. That's how you want to see your world. But you also choose your situation. So today I want to talk about the downsides of being a digital nomad. There are good, there are bad with anything in life. Not everything is rosy and not everything is horrible. So the first thing, as you notice, I'm on this beautiful hill and I am by myself. So the first thing that we as digital nomads or as long-term travelers, we don't talk about is you're alone a lot of the time. The first time I was with people was when I was volunteering in Israel, and I was surrounded by other people who are like me, traveling, solo travelers. So there's a lot of us out there, but most of the times we are alone. Unless you 100% travel with someone or your partner, that's a different story. But I'm speaking from someone who travels by themselves, does almost everything by myself, unless I'm in a situation or meet people in a hostel or a hotel or somewhere to do something with. So you're alone a lot, which can lead to people being lonely. I don't typically get lonely, but there are times like today I wish I had someone to go with me because they would push me to go further up this mountain because I've been hiking for 2 hours and I'm like, I might just turn around because there's no one with me. So I don't know. If someone's with me and is like, come on, you can do it, I might go further. I don't know, I might go a little further. I haven't decided, but it does get lonely not having someone else with you to share experiences with. But sometimes that's good because I like to be alone. Not all the time, but if I want to find people that I want to hang out with, I will go do a volunteer gig, which leads me into point number two. The second reason is you are dependent on Wi-Fi because if you work, I am a freelancer, so I'm dependent on Wi-Fi 100% because everything I do is online. There are people who travel and work at the same time and they do odd jobs like bartending. I don't do that. A lot of people do that and work under the table. I am not one of those. I prefer writing or making videos, which leaves me to be 100% dependent on Wi-Fi. And sometimes when you come places like this, the Wi-Fi is not always great, or the Wi-Fi might go out, or you just have to pick places. Luckily where I'm at, the Wi-Fi is really good, but that doesn't mean that it can't go out at any time, and I'm completely 100% dependent on it, which is why a lot of digital nomads live in cities and stay for months on end because they find somewhere that's good. You can make connections, you can join meetups or social groups, and it's easier because you create a little home, and then after your visa's up, you go somewhere else, or you continue there and you find a way to get a visa. But that's not everybody. I kind of travel and work at the same time, which is a whole other struggle because if I'm in a country I do want to see things. I'm not always the best at going to tourist sites, but I like to do things in nature. I like to go hiking. I like to hike and walk every single day, which is part of my routine. But that means I want to go to more remote places, and sometimes I will go volunteer to meet people, and sometimes on those volunteer sites there's no internet, so I have to sacrifice either work or have socialization and go more remote. And sometimes I do go to places that have Wi-Fi, but like I said, it's not always great. Sometimes I can't upload, I can't write, I can't do that part of my business. But on the flip side, I have a social life for that month and I meet people. So sometimes you sacrifice one for the other. Just like if you work a 9-to-5 job and you have something to do, but you also have family obligations. You're not always able to do both at the same time. So there are good and bad with both situations. Third thing about traveling full-time is that most of us do miss our families. So I actually didn't realize how coming to this side of the world, how far away I am. Well, I mean, I know how far away I am. I know how far away I am, but when the time change, 8 to 10 hour time difference, not always being able to talk to them when they're awake or when they're sleeping. Like right now, I think my whole family's sleeping, and I don't know, we always chat, but sometimes like, I wake up and I have a bunch of messages because I'm on a different time zone. And it's not like I have the ability to just go home tomorrow if I want. And when I was living in Latin America, if I needed to go home, it's easier to get a flight like the next day or the day after. And I would be home within a few hours. But here it's like, I'm on the other side of the world. So yeah, a lot of us do miss our families, which is something why a lot of digital nomads end up going back home or creating a home base in another country where they can have stability and maybe have their own family move there with them, or go back and forth a lot easier. The third one I'm gonna add in, it's like might be something very specific to me, but I mean, it's something that's true, is most of us can't have animals while we travel because we're traveling. And unless you've decided to like make one certain place your home, most likely you're not gonna have an animal with you because it's very hard to find places that will take a pet, especially if you have a dog. Or, I mean, sometimes you can and it's easy, but I have noticed I haven't really seen a lot of nomads traveling with animals, because on top of always having your stuff with you and your whole life with you, having an animal, in a lot of digital nomads also, if they do travel with their families, they stay in one place for a long time. I know nothing about family and digital nomads though, so I don't want to talk about it because they make it work. I've seen some of them online and I've met a few in person, but I don't know how they do it. I think like having a dog would be very difficult, and I really want a dog, so that for me is a personal struggle. And it's also why one of the reasons is that I'm actually looking for somewhere to live. I've been traveling for 5 years, so I am traveling to these little remote villages because I want to find a country that I can possibly live in. And one of the reasons I came to Georgia is because you can stay for a year and then you can leave and you can come back and get another year visa as a tourist. I want to add one more thing to the dark side of being a digital nomad, is it makes dating very difficult, because unless you meet someone who is traveling and headed the same direction, has like the same goals as you do, it's gonna be difficult to find someone to connect with. Or you meet a local like I did in Colombia and you decide to settle down. However, that also comes with things, because it's like, I feel like one person has to you have to make a lot of compromises. So when you meet someone who maybe that's not their lifestyle, and someone like me who I was ready to settle, but I also wanted to still travel sometimes. I didn't always want to be in one place. I want to have a home, but I still want to travel. So finding someone whose job is that flexible, finding someone who understands that lifestyle can be hard. Or, you know, if one person has to give up something and the other person has to give up something, and if you can't find a compromise, it gets really hard. Also, that's like with dating in everyday life, like you're always gonna have to compromise on something. So, but dating when you're traveling is difficult. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really date when I'm traveling, because if I know it's a country that I would never settle down in, I will never date. Especially I won't date a local, because if I don't want to live there, why would I date someone from that country? Because unless they're like, yeah, I want to go travel, you're gonna have issues. Or maybe, you know, if you meet someone on the road and they want to go to their country, and I don't know, it can be really difficult because there's so many factors. I don't know, I think dating in general right now is really hard. So it's just difficult. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So anyways, I just wanted to, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully this shines a little bit of light. And I mean, I could also do a video like this about my 7 to 7 nursing shift. I can do reasons why it was great, reasons why it wasn't great. So with anything in life, there's always two sides. Don't get derailed by thinking one life is better than the other, because whatever life that you want to live is going to be the one that's the best. So thank you so much. I'll talk to you later. Bye.